Welcome to another episode of Systematic Geekology. This is a space where we seek to create and cultivate healthy conversations between those things we geek out on and the philosophical and theological questions that often arise out of our fandoms. Like, what does it mean to be human? What makes a hero? What makes a villain? How do the stories and narratives we geek out on shape how we live in the world? We are your priest to the geeks. We aren't all ordained, but we see ourselves as mediators at the intersection of geek culture and going deeper in our faith. We don't always have to agree, but we do respect each other, and we see everyone as a beloved child of God. Everyone geeks out on something, so come geek out with us and enjoy the show.
You're listening to an Anazao Ministries podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, frogs, gators, and skeeters of all ages, we welcome you to the wonderful world of Walt Disney's Animation Studios. Today, we are really excited as we finally get into the revival era of Disney animation films with the one and only Princess and the Frog. It is contested whether or not it's the first revival film, but not to me.
Agreed.
So there you go. I am Joshua Noel, one of your hosts, and today I am with the Reason for podcast. He has friends on both sides. The one and only TJ Blackwell. How's it going?
Good.
Yeah. And before we do anything else, I want to remind you guys, if you're on a laptop, consider rating and reviewing our show on Podchaser or GoodPod. It's going to help our show gain recognition, make it easier to find in search engines like Google, which is what people look stuff up on. If you're on your phone, consider rating, reviewing, or commenting on our show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. One of those two, it's going to help prioritize our show in their algorithms, which where most people listen to podcasts. So that helps a lot. Also want to thank one of our supporters. We can sponsor our show on Apple Podcasts, Captivate, or Patreon. Today, we're shouting out the one and only Justin Vaughn. Dude, we love you. Both of us. Like, it's legitimate. We love Justin. Yeah. And remember, if you want your own shout out, you too can support our show for $3 a month on one of those three platforms: Apple Podcasts, Captivate, or Patreon. Now, TJ, before I say other things, what have you been geeking out on lately, man?
Oh, man. Elden Ring Night Rain. It's so good. I haven't tried crack, but I imagine it would give me the same feeling.
All right. That sounds pretty nice. Pretty nice.
Yeah.
Last weekend, Christian Ashley, another one of our hosts, was at my house to watch Doctor Who. That's not what I was going to say for what I'm geeking out on. Instead, what I'm going to say is we tried to play some more modern games on Steam multiplayer and just couldn't find stuff that both worked that we also both enjoyed doing together. Ended up opening up a ROM, and we both spent a couple hours really getting into Ratchet Deadlocked. Such a good game.
Yeah.
And now I'm, of course, going to finish the game by myself because I have to.
Modern games, you really only have two options. It Takes Two or Split Fiction.
Overcooked was really good, but apparently stressed him out because of the time. Like, you're timed.
Yeah, he doesn't work in a kitchen.
Yeah. TJ and I, though, we had a good time playing that one. And I had a good time discussing some food and video games on another podcast, Grub and Grace, by Mark Flower. So you guys go over there, subscribe to his show, and that podcast episode will probably release soonish. And maybe me and Mark will get to play some and drop that on Instagram or something. Or TJ and I will, just to play, though. Yeah. Really won't help you guys at all.
No.
It's fine, though. But jumping into today's episode, this is the first film we've covered in the revival era of Disney animation. It might be the first film in the Disney revival era, if you count it. Originally, for a long time, people were like, no, the first one's Tangled. And it seems like more and more people are just accepting that I was right all along, and it was Princess and the Frog. Yeah. Which I love that. So, we're going to do three from this era. So, we're doing Princess and the Frog this time. What is it?
Tangled is in 3D.
Yeah. Most of the Disney revival movies are in 3D.
No, the era's just really short. It's just Princess and the Frog.
Well, there's that. But by most counts, they'll say now they'll say Princess of the Frog. They were saying Tangled into whatever movie is now. I think the revival era has already finished. We just haven't named the new era, so no one's acknowledging that it's already over.
Yeah,
but it's over.
People are saying Wish was the last movie in the revival era, and I agree. Willing to end it early, even before like Strange. I haven't seen Strange World. I don't know if it's
Strange World was good. I also think that it could be the next era. Could have started with it.
No, as far as the people are concerned, Wish was still part of the revival era. So I'm saying we go out on a limb and cut it off early and say Strange World is the first one in the current era. Whatever it is, Strange World should be the first one. Because Encanto was, revival. And I like think Encanto's great.
Yeah, Encanto is like the pinnacle, like the end. The pinnacle is the ending and begin, I feel like. Princess and the Frog, Encanto, and then everything else in between was good.
And Tangled. I like Tangled a lot. Onward's really, really good.
I don't like Tangled. I don't remember Onward. Which one was Onward? Oh, that was Pixar. That doesn't count.
It was just Pixar.
Yeah.
But it's on
Disney
Disney Plus.
We're going to talk about that too at some point.
But because before we move on, like there's some great movies in the revival era. Josh doesn't like Tangled for personal reasons.
I don't know why I don't like Tangled. I tried to like it because it was in Kingdom Hearts 3, which made me feel obligated to like it. I still just don't.
Yeah, but
it's like
Tangled
Andor.
Is great.
There's no reason why I don't like it. It just doesn't click.
Like Wreck-It Ralph 1 is great. Frozen, the first Frozen is great. Moana is phenomenal.
So true.
Even Zootopia is still like a really good movie.
Yeah. Pretty much all of them have been pretty great.
Except for
I enjoyed all.
And Wish. Yeah, Raya, The Last Dragon, and Wish.
Raya, I think was better than it got credit for. The thing that really held it down was a lack of music, I think.
Yeah.
Just didn't feel like no one saw it in theaters because of when it was released. But that's where, so in our show, we're cheating. So we're going to do 3 from revival era. We're going to make up an era called the pandemic era. So those movies that should have been in theaters that just weren't released in the theater. So like Raya, I think we're going to do Onward and one other. I don't remember what they are. Yeah, so we're going to do that, and then we're going to circle back and do, because a few of the eras we only did 2 movies in for the series, so we're going to circle back and do a third from some of those first couple eras that we didn't do 3 movies in. But this is the first in the revival era, if you accept our count of what the revival era is. If you don't, find a different podcast. What are you doing? There's so many podcasts out there. You can listen to any of them. Find someone who agrees with you. Get in a nice echo chamber. It's Disney. It doesn't matter.
It's true.
Yeah. Anyway. So now that I've chased off our fans, I'm really excited for this. This is actually the more I told TJ earlier, I texted him. I was like, I think this film gets better every single time I watch it. I remember the first time I watched it, like that was really good. Really awesome movie. I was super hyped about it. A lot of my friends at the time weren't, because I think I was at that age where like we were supposed to be too old for Disney. And I was the first one that was like, yeah, I think I'm over being old. Because, like you get to a point where you're too old for cartoons. And then you get old enough where you're no longer too old. Like you age out and then you age back into it somehow. I was at that point where I was aging back in. Like, actually, I think I just don't care what people think about me watching cartoons. So none of my friends really cared about it the way I did.
I think music's good. Also, I was 10. So I was in a slightly different situation.
Yeah. And the film, at first, it didn't get as much recognition because it didn't make as much in the box office as Disney wanted it to. But then as time has gone on, everyone was like, wait a minute, this is great. And Disney was like, all right, well, we got to revamp everything now that people think this film was great. And I'm okay with it, honestly. The only one I'm slightly sad about is Splash Mountain. And that's just because of nostalgia. Like, objectively, I think it's the right decision to make it about Princess and the Frog. Just for nostalgic reasons. I miss that old little song they played in that film.
Yeah, it is
right.
True.
Yeah. But anyway, we'll talk about that a little bit later. I am really excited to talk about this film, especially with TJ, because TJ and I have watched this together a couple times. We've been to Disney World a few times, so it's gonna be a good time. TJ, when is the first time you remember seeing this film, and what are some of your memories with these characters throughout your life? Since you were 10 when you first watched it, apparently.
Yeah, I don't think I was 10 when I saw it. I was 10 when it came out, though.
Oh, I wasn't.
I definitely didn't see it on release. I was part of the box office problem. Also, I was 10, so like I couldn't pay to go see it. It's not up to me.
That was probably during that one recession we had too, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was right after the 2008 recession.
Yeah, makes sense.
People were sort of covering 2010. think some people are still recovering for this current recession, but here we are. The first time I saw Princess and the Frog probably wasn't that long ago.
Did I make you watch it? Could this be a situation where I was like, hey, let's watch this?
It was probably a good 6-ish years ago.
Oh, okay. Yeah, my wife completely missed it. And I was like, hold up, this film. She was like, that was really good. I would miss it. I was also because, like, for some reason, there was a point where everyone was like, I don't like modern Disney, even though they could never point to, like, what movies they were talking about. Because, like, the movies before this was, like, Chicken Little. That was a good movie.
I could definitely understand someone watching Chicken Little and thinking, yeah, I think Disney's done.
Like, it was good. It just wasn't like, you know, Aladdin, Treasure Planet.
It was really funny, though. Chicken Little's really funny.
Yeah, people should rewatch that. Also, Chicken Little is in Kingdom Hearts.
The turkey with, like, the cue cards. Hilarious.
True. But today, we're going to be talking about Princess and the Frog. I did first see it in the theater. I don't remember who I saw it with or anything like that. I'm very distinctly remembering liking this film way more than any of my friends and thinking that everybody else was wrong. And that was like one of the first times that I was like, wait a minute, I'm Josh with the bad opinions. But this is one of those that it turned out that like everybody else was wrong.
Yeah.
Some stuff
Probably
like Andor and Halo, I'm just the wrong one though.
Correct.
Yeah. But this one everyone came back around to.
Yeah.
So that's
I hope you enjoyed that feeling.
Yeah. It's never going to happen again.
Never again.
There's never going to be a day where everyone wakes up and is like, wait a minute, Josh was right. Halo sucks. That's not happening.
No.
It's fine. But yeah, it's interesting like how it didn't do huge at the box office. And then as time has gone by, more and more people gravitate to like this film being like really one of the staples of Disney. Like Tiana is one of the Disney princesses, you know, like it's interesting because sometimes you'll see like the new Disney princesses pictures together and they include Brave, and that always irritates me because she's Pixar, but whatever. What's her name? Miranda from Brave?
Merida,
yeah. Pixar doesn't count, but apparently it does. But you know, they'll have like the new Disney princesses, and then, but what's interesting is like a lot of times, even when they have like the classic Disney princesses, they'll still include Tiana in it. And she definitely was not around back then, but like you could tell like with the art style, the effort that they put into this, and like some of the cool throwbacks, you're like, yeah, she does belong as one of the Disney princesses.
Yeah, which is also funny because the movie is set in like 70s New Orleans.
Yeah, and she's not a princess.
And she's not a princess. Yeah, she's not like, even the mayor's daughter or the governor's daughter.
But yeah, no, it's great though.
Hey guys, Christian here to talk about our YouTube page. That's where you can go find us at youtube.com/@systematicgeekology. We have exclusive stuff there, exclusive videos where you can just hear other topics that you'll never hear on the podcast proper. These include things like comic book catch up, where we're discussing the newest comics that we're reading, Friday Night Frights, where Joe Day and I explore a cryptozoological, paranormal, ufological item of discussion. Has a lot of good fun there. I have a lot of great times with him. We have spontaneous YouTube shorts that we decided to do on a topic we wanted to discuss. They're in a very short form. We do them there as well. You can interact with us live as we're recording like a What's New episode or something like that. You have something you want to chime in? Well, how can you do it unless you head over to youtube.com/@systematicgeekology. All right, guys. See ya.
So, DJ, because you're better at this, would you, for those who somehow missed watching The Princess and the Frog, could you summarize what happens in this film?
All right, so basically, you've heard the story of the Princess and the Frog before. Princess finds frog, kisses frog, turns into a prince, happily ever after. That's not really what happens here. So, Tiana is just a poor girl working in New Orleans, trying to make the money to make her dream come true because she wants to open a restaurant. That is her passion, is cooking. And that's another reason why I like this movie a lot, because
yeah,
I like to cook. Also, I think it's probably the most relatable one. It was why they push it so often. Uh-huh. And, you know, not even including the representation, because she is the first and so far only Black Disney princess.
Yeah.
But things happen, you know, this is New Orleans, so Mardi Gras is in town, you know, it's Mardi Gras season. That's where she becomes, you know, well, where the princess part of the story comes in, because she's trying to be the Mardi Gras princess. But so there's a prince in town. Mm-hmm. His dream is to not be a prince. Basically, he doesn't want to do anything ever. He just wants to have fun. So things happen. There's a witch doctor in town, and he decides, with the help of the prince's assistant, aide, I'm not sure what to call him really, but the witch doctor realizes he can get rich by cursing this prince, taking over their money. He's from Moldova, so wants to hold him for ransom, something like that. But he's a witch doctor in New Orleans. This is Disney, so he's got real ghosts and spirits on his side.
Mm-hmm. From the other side.
From the other side. They're his friends from the other side.
Yeah.
So he gets turned into a frog. His assistant takes over. And basically the way the curse works is as long as they keep the little talisman filled with the prince's blood, he's going to look like Prince Naveen. And it's easy because they turn him into a frog and they have him in a jar. Duh. And then he escapes, right? So he escapes. He finds his way, to the Mardi Gras party. Finds Tiana, who's wearing a dress because her friend is the governor's daughter. Or is he the mayor?
I'm unsure. He's Big
Mayor
Daddy.
of New Orleans.
He's also the pastor of the Gemstones family.
He just makes a lot of money. He's got a lot of money. That's what matters. So he finds Tiana, assumes she's a princess, and convinces her to kiss him. And then they're both frogs.
Yeah, just like
and
the
they're
story.
both frogs. So they have a little frog adventure through the bayou and meet some friends along the way. And
down the bayou.
Yeah, of course, everything works out in the end. And spoiler warning, but Tiana becomes a frog willingly, and she's willing to stay a frog. And then, of course, they turn back into people.
Yeah, yeah. One of the interesting parts too is like this film very much centers around money. Yep. Like all the characters, their motivation is some way tied to money. Mm-hmm. Tiana's trying to get money to buy her restaurant that her dad always dreamed of, and she was going to, carry on his legacy, do all that kind of stuff. And then the prince been cut off from his parents, so he's trying to get money again because he's a prince that has no money. And then, the other girl whose name's escaping me, the blonde girl. Her name's Blonde Girl now. Blonde girl. Big Daddy's daughter. Big daughter? I don't know.
Big daughter.
Sure. She's not portrayed as large in the film or anything. It's funny. She's portrayed as like very stereotypical, beautiful blonde, like how you expect most of the Disney princesses to look. And I think that was very intentional. Anyway, she has all the money she wants. She's motivated to use her money to get the prince who wants her for her money. And it's just so like how every single character some way ties back to wealth, and it's portrayed in New Orleans, where you see this very clear disparity where like the white rich folk can have whatever they want. They could have bought her, like her friend could have just had her restaurant bought for it at any time. Whereas Tiana is a black woman raised by a black dad on the bayou. She had to work 2-3 jobs to try and get enough money to buy this restaurant, and was still going to be outbid. Charlotte had all the money she wants. The other thing is like interesting is it could have done one or two things, right? A lot of times that's what you expect Disney princesses to look like. And then here, we have our first black princess with Tiana. And it could have shown where like she was greedy and was never going to help her friend, and she turned out to be the bad guy, which is what a lot of what times is what happens these days. It's like the bad guys, the white people, and then to show diversity, we're going to make the non-white people good and the white straight people terrible. And this film was like, no, actually, she's still good. She loved her friend. She just completely did not see the issue. Just never addressed it. She was completely blind to it. The bad guy was also a person of color. There's like a thing called nuance that was really well used in this film.
Yeah, also great villain. Yeah. Dr. Facilier is one of my favorite villains in Disney, period. And definitely my favorite modern Disney villain. Yeah.
Oh, it's fantastic. I keep wanting to get ahead of myself and talk about other things, but I'm going to keep going through this. So if you had to rate the film 0 to 10, TJ, Princess and the Frog, what's it getting?
9.
I'm going 9.5, I think. And
it really is phenomenal.
Yeah. Like, what's funny is if I was rating it as a cartoon film, 10. 10 out of 10.
You know what? I'm just going to give it a 10. I was trying to think of something that it deserved to lose a point for, and I can't. So,
yeah, like, it's pretty. The thing is, it gets better every time I watch it. So eventually, maybe I'll say 10. The only reason is because I'm rating it. When I do this, I like compare it to all the other Disney films. And for me, Jungle Book and Hercules are the only 10s. But man, this gets close. It gets so close. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, it's there.
Yeah. TJ doesn't give 10s out very often. I think what's funny is I think Ratatouille and Treasure Planet is the only one Disney films that you gave a 10 other than this, right?
Should be.
Yeah, that sounds about right. So,
Princess and the Frog is
just
genuinely amazing.
Yeah. Well, and part of what I think made it so just awesome, like the art and the animation in this film, like back when it came out, I was only of the age, but I was like, oh, it's kind of cool. They're doing like classic Disney movie. It looks like an old one. That was like the limit of my thought. And then the more I learned about it, I'm like, dear God, so much more than that.
Yeah. And it's like, it's really insulting because they did it pretty much just to show that they could do it. And they weren't going to do it again.
Yeah. I just want to show you guys, we can do this if we feel like it. Yeah.
They were just like, here, enjoy. Yeah. It's the last one.
Yeah. So it was John Musker and Ron Clements. They're like, hey guys, got all these old school animators together. We're like, we're going to do a hand-drawn film and it's going to be awesome. And supposedly, even when they got people together and announced that, even the other animators were like waiting for it to be a joke or something. Like, they were like, really? We're going to do another hand-drawn? They just didn't believe it, which is great. For those who don't know, John Musker and Ron Clements, they studied under some of the original 9 Old Men, like Disney's 9 Old Men. They led the animation for this film. They also did The Great Mouse Detective, which was the last Disney film to have one of the 9 Old Men working on it. Other notable works, The Little Mermaid. One of my wife's favorite. My wife has 2 favorite Disney movies. One's The Little Mermaid. Aladdin. Some of our other hosts, that's their favorite Disney film. Treasure Planet, TJ's favorite Disney movie. Hercules, my favorite Disney movie. And Moana, my wife's other favorite Disney movie.
Yeah.
I don't know why these two don't do all the Disney films. Disney has the money, just pay them.
They've never missed. Their worst movie is The Great Mouse Detective, and it's not theirs.
Yeah, and it's also phenomenal.
Really good.
Like, just wild. For this film, almost all of it's 2D hand-drawn. What's not, so they used a program called Maya. And what it did was produce the realistic fireflies and then the wheels as 3D effects. Pretty much everything else is 2D. They just did a couple things with special effects because turns out, hey, we want to do it all hand-drawn, but we're not dumb. We're still going to use modern technology when it's useful. Yeah.
And this was like their last foray into, well, I'm thinking, yeah, this is their last foray into like a mixed medium, as far as I'm aware.
Wish
they might do it
Wish
again.
did a little bit.
But sort of.
Wish's animation was incredible. Everything else about Wish was a huge letdown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is it? We should do a Wish episode because I want to talk about the production of that movie.
Yeah, me too.
It's really interesting.
Yeah. But so for this film, though, one of the other things that's cool, so they do a lot of stuff to like nod to Disney's tradition, the history of Disney film. One part because, hey, we love Disney. Disney always does this, but also because they really wanted to solidify Tiana as one of the princesses, which I think is really important. Some of the stuff they did that was kind of cool. So they reused the dancing animation from Beauty and the Beast and Sleeping Beauty. So it's the same dancing animation for both of them. They use it again during the scene here with Naveen dancing near the end of the film. They also reused one of the scenes from Sword in the Stone when Louis describes the Voodoo Queen and he puts the moss on his head. Yeah, that's redone.
I think didn't Musker and Clements do Sword in the Stone?
It wasn't listed on.
I think it's better than
Wikipedia
Great Mouse Detective. So my previous statement still stands. I think Sword and Stone is the most overhated Disney film
for no reason. Anyway, they also had the animators study Bambi for the art in the film. So the way the trees and everything are drawn, so that supposedly it was so that they wouldn't put too much detail into the background. Because it turns out that makes the background look less good. Yeah. And then one of my other favorite fun facts with this side of stuff is Odin Benitez? I don't know. The sound designer, he went to New Orleans and recorded sounds like the sound of the church bells, the sound of the Mardi Gras parade, and even some of the like nature sounds you hear in the bayou. He literally just went there and recorded it for the film. He's like, you know what'll make this feel really realistic? If it's literally the same sound. Turns out he was right.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good idea.
Genius. Yeah. So see, did you have anything else with the art and animation stuff that stood out to you other than just like the way they did the shadow for Dr. Facilier was
It's gorgeous.
so cool.
That is really, it's so cool to see the way they implement the shadow.
Yeah.
Just in general, like they manage, like Vasilia will be in the frame and the focus will still be on the shadow early in the movie just to get you to notice it.
Yeah.
And then the shadow starts moving and you're like, oh, that's why that shot looked like that.
It was so cool.
Because when it's just, you know, when you're not paying attention to it at first, you'll notice the shadow and you'll be like, that's weird. And then it starts moving. You're like, oh, I see.
Yeah. One of the other cool things with like just the animation, this isn't like style or anything necessarily, but it was just whenever he does like his villain song, instead of it being like all dark like most villain songs are animated in Disney, they use like these bright like New Orleans kind of colors, and the way some of the like voodoo zombie kind of stuff is like coming out from the other side or whatever, it doesn't look like a typical ghost or whatever. Like they did something unique, and the fact that all that was hand drawn when they could have just been like, computer, do this. It just can't get over like how much detail and work went into this film and making it look the way it did. It's just so good.
Yep, it's visually stunning.
Oh yeah,
throughout.
Oh, yeah. So I have a couple history, fact, fun stuff that I want to discuss. Do you have anything else you want to shout out as far as like the history or some of the behind the scenes stuff of the film?
No, I just think it's a really fun look into what New Orleans was like at the time.
Yeah, because it's not like modern, but it's not like old.
Yeah, it's just old enough.
Like she works in a diner.
Yeah.
Which is so funny because it's like the diner is like flapjacks and eggs and, you know, whatever. And it's very clearly like an old school diner. And then she's like, also, I'm going to make some beignets. I was like, love it.
Beignets are like a New Orleans thing.
Yeah. I mean, all of her food are like, I think all of the food that she cooks anyways, like genuinely like from that kind of history.
Jambalaya.
And culture.
Flapjacks. French toast.
I want to try her gumbo so bad.
Gotta be good.
All right. So some of the other history with the film, Louis is inspired by Louis Armstrong. Why is he not called Louis? Great question. Please write Ron Clements immediately. Alan Menken, he's the composer for The Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, and Aladdin. He was originally going to be the composer for this film, but because scheduling conflicts, they ended up getting Randy Newman, the guy from Toy Story, Monsters, Inc., etc. He ended up doing this. So you get a little bit of that Pixar flair in here, I guess, and better jazz. I'm just not convinced Alan Menken could have done like the jazz as well. Yeah, I don't think so. So kind of glad that we got Randy Newman for that. Yeah,
I'll respect Alan Menken.
Oh yeah,
great artist.
Fantastic.
But
wouldn't have worked for this.
He couldn't have done this.
Yeah, not as well anyway. We see the magic carpet and Genie's lamp portrayed in this film in different parts, probably because Naveem is supposed to be from some kind of like Middle Eastern, Southern Asian kind of world. They made up a country for him that's not real, but I think that's why they kind of had some of those cameos. But we do also see Trident in the Mardi Gras film, but that's because the animators were the ones who did Little Mermaid, so of course they're going to include that. Here's where the real fun for me is. The band and Lewis's flashback, you know, when he had like the flashback on the ship, and he's like, I tried to play on one of the cruise ships once. The band, if you look closely on the drums, it says the Firefly plus Lou. That and it has Frank Thomas, who was the one drawn as the drummer. He really was the drummer for that band, and also he was one of Disney's 9 Old Men, so that's why they used that band. And I just thought that was super cool. You also can see John Musker and John Clement drew themselves into the film during the Mardi Gras scene, and that's just cool. I kind of like when animators or whoever are like, you know what, I'm gonna draw myself into this. Why not?
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah. And like big, as long as you're not making yourself the protagonist or anything, I do think it's really funny to just throw yourself in there as a cameo. Yeah. The
only time the writer can be the antagonist, and I still think it's great, is specifically for Deadpool comics. That's when it works. It's fantastic. Deadpool's like, why the hell would you write this?
Hey friends, your pal Will Rose here. Sometimes I ask myself, have you ever wondered how you can support systematic geekology? Yes, I have. And well, if you're like me, you want systematic geekology to continue to grow and thrive. And you can do that by joining Patreon for as little as $3 a month. As a patron, you get bonus episodes. We answer bonus questions that our patrons get to hear. We have special shout outs. We have certain episodes that the patrons pick. So you help us create and curate the content that we put out for the world to hear. You even get free merch. And when I say that we're a worldwide podcast, that I'm not being hyperbolic. somebody told me that we have over 20,000 subscribers from all over the world, and just half of those subscribers join Patreon for $3 a month. We would be set on keeping moving forward with the tech that we need to have the quality of podcast that we want our hearers to experience. And it'll help us get to certain events and conventions so that we can see you face to face and geek out with you in person. And let me just share that there's no shame, no guilt. If you can't join Patreon at this point, that's okay. That's okay. Just keep listening, keep sharing, keep liking, because yes, we're proud of what we're doing at Systematic Geekology. And friends, guess what? You can subscribe to Patreon for free to receive one extra bonus episode a month via the Patreon or Spotify app. That is fantastic. And we're glad that you're a part of it.
All right. So one thing we like to do for these episodes, TJ, we have to list our favorite song, favorite scene, and favorite character from the film. I'll let you go first. Favorite scene, favorite song, favorite character. What do you got?
Okay. So favorite character is Ray. That's hard. This is hard. This whole movie is just so unbelievably good. Characters, music, scenery, style. It's all phenomenal.
Yeah. For context, my brain has been preparing for you to either say Ray or Dr. Facilier, and I have two different characters I was going to pick based on which one of those I thought you would pick. Was that right? Was it going to be one of those two?
Yes.
That's great.
Yeah, it definitely is one of the two. I'm going to say both.
All right.
It's Ray and Dr. Facilier.
All right. I dig it.
If you haven't seen the movie, you're still here. Ray is a firefly, and he is in love with a star.
And becomes a star.
A star. They end up together. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Is that what you thought was going to... Is that where you thought this was going? He gets the girl.
Yeah.
A star.
I love him. All right.
Song? Oh, are you going to go?
No, I was going to ask you, what's your favorite
Let's
scene?
alternate. No, let's alternate.
Oh, okay. It really, it's so difficult. Ray actually is just so great. I love Ray. Tiana comes close. The other one I would say, though, I love Lewis, too. All the characters are so good. Even Charlotte, honestly, I really like that Charlotte actually is a good friend. She's just ignorant of the fact that her friend is struggling so much. Yeah, I'm going to say Ray. If I have to pick one, like you have this, like, he grew up in the bayou. He's got that accent. And even when you're like, I'm from far away, you mean down yonder? It's like he's awesome all the way through and sacrifices himself for everybody. And honestly, I think maybe one of the most meaningful deaths that Disney has ever done. Maybe not Pixar, but as far as like Disney goes, I was like, oh, that was actually meaningful. They didn't, not just they always kill one of the parents off in the beginning or both. This was like a meaningful death. I was like, oh.
Yeah. And
I think it's a shame that Disney doesn't always portray the two stars whenever they do the Disney logo. They don't have to say it's Ray, but like, come on.
Yeah, it would be really great. Nice. And it's not even like it's fairly graphic.
Yeah. You watch him fade out.
Not graphic, but it's emotionally stressful.
Yeah. Like that was the one thing my wife at the end was like, what do you mean he dies? I hate this movie. But she does love the movie now. But yeah, it's rough. Yeah. All right. Favorite scene.
So, favorite scene. That's harder than song. Okay. So my favorite scene is probably Facilier's, song. Friends are on the other side. That's probably my favorite scene in the movie, but that is not my favorite song in the movie.
I've done that a few times in this. I honestly almost said the same scene, weirdly enough, but also not my favorite song. But instead, I think I'm going to put my favorite scene. I forgot who it was, but so it's back when they are first kind of learning that he's a prince who doesn't have any money and all this kind of like stuff. Like when they're getting into that first, like, we don't like each other phase that couples have to go through before they like each other in a Disney film. And they're getting attacked by a group of gators. And the head gator is actually played by a famous chef from New Orleans. I don't remember who the guy was, but it's so funny because they mention that he makes great frog legs. And then, like, once you know that that's actually a chef known for cooking food like that, you're like, that's darn funny. I'm going to cheat this time since you chose 2 characters. That is tied with when Lewis has his flashback where they were like, why haven't you just played on one of those bands on the on the boats? He's like, I tried once. And he does this flashback. They're just jumping up, playing trumpet, and everyone proceeding to shoot at him. Literally like 40 rifles shooting at him. But then he just goes, it didn't end very well. I don't know. Like that whole flashback is just so funny.
It is really funny.
Yeah. All right. Favorite song?
When We're Human.
Ooh, When We're Human. Oh, that's a good one. Mm-hmm. It's so hard because even like going down the bayou's up there. Almost There is up there. The Other Side's up there. All of the songs. Can I say all of them? Is that cheating?
No.
I'm gonna say I can't make. I'm really struggling here.
Mm-hmm. It's hard.
I'm gonna go with Going Down the Bayou really for good. Vibe alone. Even though it's probably the least meaningful song. I like the vibe.
Yes. Vibe's good.
Man, this is probably the hardest.
That's great.
Like to choose favorite scene, song, character for me. I mean, even Hercules, I love all the songs, but I know my favorite character, all of it. Like I knew my favorite. That was easy. This one, genuinely difficult to pick a favorite. Mm-hmm. Maybe I should have gave the film a 10. I'm not going to still. 9.5. Because it's still no Hercules. But it's pretty close. Okay, so as far as like where we can see some of these characters and stuff in from the film and other places, you want me just to list a few that I wrote down, and then if I miss anything, you shout out some of the stuff that you know?
Yeah.
Okay, and then I have 2 that I actually want us to stop and talk about, so I'm not going to list one of them. God, I don't know how to say the word. I should have had you done this. Trattoria al Forno.
That was great.
Was it? Cool. It's like a little bakery, French kind of restaurant that's on Broadway, Disney on Broadway, or whatever that's called. Boardwalk. That's what it is. Boardwalk. So cool. It is character dining. You get like 2 or 3 of the princesses. Tiana is one of them. It's a really good dining experience. We had a reservation and missed it once, and I'm sad about it still. Of course, Tiana's Bayou Adventures replacing Splash Mountain in several parks. However, Tokyo Disneyland still has Splash Mountain for those who want to see Splash Mountain. Bit of a trip, but you might be able to do it.
Yeah, if you still want to go to Splash Mountain, you have to go to Tokyo.
Yeah. Which I might be doing next year, but not specifically for Splash Mountain. I'm just going to be there while I'm there. Might as well see Splash Mountain. Cruise ships. A lot of cruise ships will have Tiana's restaurant as part of the ship in the Disney cruise ships, which they should. I don't know why every park doesn't have her restaurant. I think it would. It's just such an easy, easy pull. Yeah.
You know, gumbo is literally made to feed a bunch of people.
Yeah. And like you have a movie about a character getting a restaurant. Why wouldn't you just put that restaurant in your parks? Anyway.
Yeah.
Of course, she's also in a lot of the parades. She has a character meet and greet in Liberty Square, right near my favorite restaurant, Liberty Tree. That's not right.
Tower.
Yeah, there it is. You also have her restaurant. Tiana's Palace is in New Orleans Square and Disneyland. Of course, in New Orleans Riverside Resort in Disney World, you also can see Tiana during some of the story time that they do at night. Do you have anything else you want to shout out before I get to the ones I want us to actually talk about a little bit?
Are we going to actually talk about the game?
Oh, Villainous? Yeah. I wanted you to tell us about Dr. Facilier at Villainous because I feel like that's appropriate.
Yeah, if you haven't played Villainous, it is a board game, sort of. It's like cardboard hybrid that has become really popular the last decade or so.
So good.
That Disney makes, and they make a lot of versions of Villainous. I don't remember what the original set includes.
There were 6, and Prince John is one of them. And Ursula.
Prince John, Ursula. They basically just pick 6 random for the first set, and then they pick 3 random for all the expansions. But you only need 3 to play.
Yeah.
So if you want to try it out, pick up one of the expansions, and you play the whole game.
I told you about the newest expansion?
No.
I was going to tell you later, but I guess that's not fair to do on a podcast. It's Davy Jones and then the crab from Moana, but it's just those
nice.
2.
Tamatoa.
Yeah, I just like those 2. I'm like, that's great though. That's still worth it.
That is awesome. It is worth it. But they also do it for Marvel, do it for Star Wars. It's really cool, really fun game. Facilier has a really interesting mechanic. I think it should be impossible to lose when you're playing as Facilier, unless you're just really unlucky. Because this whole thing is magic. He manipulates the luck of the deck. He manipulates the cards you're drawing. It's super fun. It's the most engaging deck builder I've ever played. Probably the only engaging deck builder I've ever played. Wingspan is still fun. Sometimes it's just a little annoying. To all my Wingspan fans out there, sorry. It's just how I feel.
Yeah.
But Villainous is awesome, and Facilier is broken.
It's so funny because he just, of course, every time TJ plays, he just, here's my winning card. I won.
Yep. Super easy.
Yeah, so funny, though. The one I want to talk about is the absence of Princess and the Frog in Kingdom Hearts 3, because I am still upset about it. Because Kingdom Hearts 3, one of the big criticisms that people give it is that a lot of the worlds you visit, you always visit worlds in Kingdom Hearts, and they're always different Disney films. And a lot of the complaints about Kingdom Hearts 3 is a lot of the films they chose doesn't actually add anything to the narrative of Kingdom Hearts. Like the first and second one, all the worlds you visit add something to the overarching story. And the third one, they kind of dropped the ball on that a little bit. This one fits the story so well when it comes to figuring out what it takes to get to your dreams, to make your dreams happen. I'm like, this is what the film's about. They're trying to include more modern Disney films, and instead they do Tangled, Big Hero 6, and Frozen. Really, I like Big Hero 6. I like Frozen. Tangled, I understand why they put it in there. People like Tangled. But the thing is, Princess and the Frog fits better. Also, part of the narrative is about finding new princesses of hearts. Why is Tiana not one of the princesses?
Tangled is also about following your dreams.
The other big problem with the Tangled world in Kingdom Hearts, though, they had to make up a monster bad guy for you to fight because there just wasn't a great villain fight to do.
Could have just fought Gothel.
Yeah, but imagine if Princess and the Frog was like, I think, honestly, I would have taken out Big Hero 6 and put this in. I love Big Hero 6. Yeah, I just feel like this would have fit better. But fighting Dr. Facilier and Heartless, like that just sounds so freaking cool. And everything about this film really adds to it. And then your characters being able to transform into frogs and stuff, like it was such a huge opportunity. Also, they didn't have enough worlds. They could have just added it in at an extra level. They're not limited to a certain amount of worlds. Yeah. I'm just upset. This should have been in the, like, it just.
Yeah, game's only like 60 hours long. They could have added another 5.
Yeah. There's absolutely no reason this wasn't in there. It fits the narrative. And Tiana, like the whole thing with this film was placing a black princess and solidifying her as one of the princesses. And I feel like the film does that so well, and Kingdom Hearts missed out. Yeah. That's my biggest complaint of anything in Kingdom Hearts, I think, actually, is that they did not include Princess and the Frog.
Yeah. They even had a fake white princess for the whole movie. Yeah, but Tiana marries the prince, so
yeah, she wins. Take that. And the thing is, the Charlotte isn't like upset and begrudging of her friend. She just supports her friend and loves her friend still. Like Charlotte just isn't a bad character. Like respect for Charlotte. That's what I'm saying. Like
yeah, Charlotte's a great.
Charlotte also really shows what systemic racism looks like. It doesn't look like someone being racist. It looks like someone being complacent and not knowing that the system is biasing your race. Yeah. Which is exactly who Charlotte is. And she's still a great person. And that's true of a lot of people. And that wasn't even the point of the film. It was just there because they portrayed things accurately.
So good. Great movie.
What was some of the point of the film that I think we should talk about, at least briefly, given what our show does, is digging deeper as a geekologist. Will's really making me harp on it. Okay, anyway. So doing some geekology, I want to say, like, there's this push and pull in the film of like work and dreams, right? Like Tiana's going to like work hard. She's going to work real hard. And one day she's going to get her restaurant. It's what her whole song is about. Also a great song. I'm almost there. Fantastic. And her mom's like, okay, but there's something more important. Your dad didn't get that thing that he dreamed of, but he had something more. And then even later, the Voodoo Queen's like, you know what you want, but you don't know what you need. You need relationship. You need love. And then at the same time, you see Naveem, who's never had to work for anything, learning that night. So yeah, no, sometimes you do have to work for things. You have to be willing to sacrifice, like Ray, the best character. You have to be willing to give up things. Not everything's going to work out the way that you expect. And it's so interesting to see where, like, even, you know, Tiana's told, hey, you've worked your whole life as a server. You might be a terrible business owner and they don't trust you necessarily because you've never owned a business. And you see like how there's this push and pull of like, Do you work hard for your dreams, or do you accept life as it is? Do you pursue love like Charlotte, or do you sacrifice for those you love? And there's a lot of push-pull and like nuance in this film that I think's challenging in a way. And what's funny is I don't think the film gives us a clear answer of like choose love over work, or, you know, give up money. I don't think it portrays money as evil necessarily. I don't think there's a clear answer in this film what to do with this stuff. Yeah, TJ, if you had to speak into this, like the kind of balance that the film's touching on and talking to, is there an answer? Like, how do we know when we're doing too much of one or the other, or not working hard enough, or like, how do we know where we're at?
I don't think you can know. I think you can only do what you can.
Yeah, that's fair. I think so. I want to preface by saying a lot of people have to work 2 or 3 jobs to live, basically. And I acknowledge that. Not really much they can do about that, or nothing I know they can do about that, except for like going to government, going for others for help if they can. That's not what we're talking about. I do think people, including myself at one point, what's funny is I did this for ministry actually, work so hard because they have a dream or something they want to see happen that they miss the world around them. Mm-hmm. And it's really easy to fall into that trap. And I think that's what happens to Tiana at the beginning. Like, she misses friendship. She misses love. She misses what her dad did have. Her dad had a community of people who would gather when they cooked, and they sat on their back porch and had meals together. And it was beautiful and meaningful. And she missed a lot of this stuff as she grew up, as she really hyper-focused on, I need to have this restaurant. I have to work and get this dream. And at the same time, you see Charlotte, who's never had a dream. All she's ever wanted is love. And you see how, like, that's not really healthy either. And then you see Naveen, you have all these different perspectives, who's like, hey, I'm cool with love. I'm cool with whatever. His dream is just he wants to live life, go out there and be in the moment. But he's so be in the moment that those that he could help and support and be there for, he's not able to help, support, and be there for because he lost everything because he wasn't working hard enough. Yeah, that's what I think this movie does really well. That nuance. TJ might be right. There might not be a good way to know. I think some clarifying questions are probably more helpful to ask yourself, like, are you missing out on what's around you? When's the last time you've spoken to your family? When's the last time you talked to your neighbor? I think it's important to ask those questions, and also to ask, like, if you're in a situation where you're struggling, you have money and you don't have enough money and all this, you know, whatever, but you're not trying to get a job, like, to ask yourself, like, am I actually putting the effort in that I need to be putting in for my goals? And man, yeah, there's a thin line there.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah. And I love this film for not making it look easy. And I love Ray for sacrificing for us.
They do make it look kind of fun, though.
Yeah. They do make it look fun.
It would be more fun if I was a frog.
That's true. We should all become frogs. That is our practical action for the day. TJ, if we all became frogs, how do you think the world might be better? Mm-hmm. All right. I like that. If you're good to go out on that note, you want to go ahead and jump to our wrap-up?
Yeah, so we're doing an extra question today. Naturally. For patrons only, we're going to be answering the question, what if we were chefs at Tiana's restaurant? Josh and I both have a little professional kitchen experience, so might throw us a couple dollars, find out what we're saying. Josh, you have a recommendation for the audience today?
Many such. There are certain points in your life where you're like, I'm not going to get that geeky. I'm not going to become that nerdy. Like, I'm not going to cross that line. And one of the lines I drew for myself, I finally crossed. I said, I'm not going to be the person who gets the Kingdom Hearts manga. Now I'm the person who reads Kingdom Hearts manga, and I highly recommend it. It's phenomenal. If you don't have the capacity to play the games, maybe the books are the way to go. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I understand.
Yeah, I crossed the line, and now I'm just learning to embrace it. Yeah. What about you? Any recommendations for those listening?
I can't, in good conscience, recommend somebody play Elden Ring Night Rain.
You could. Should I play it?
Oh. No. You'd hate it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's really hard.
Oh. I mean, I like hard things sometimes.
Oh, and then you should try it. It's extremely difficult, especially without friends.
Perfect. I hate friends. That's a joke.
Yeah. So, instead, I'm going to say Star Wars Tales of the Underworld is actually really good.
Oh, that's right. I saw some of it. I got to the Cad Bane part, and I was like, oh, this is great. I should ask TJ about it. And then I forgot.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody should watch that. It's awesome. Massage of Interest, Cad Bane. That's all you need.
I always forget about Massage of Interest. I literally just forget that she exists. And then I'm like, oh, wait, she's cool.
She's cool.
All right, guys. Well, if you're on a laptop, please consider rating and reviewing our show on Podchaser or GoodPod. That's going to help our show gain recognition and make it easier to find in those search engines like Google. If you're on your phone, however, consider rating, reviewing, or commenting on our show on Apple Podcast or Spotify. That's going to help prioritize our show in those algorithms, which is where most people listen to podcasts. It's free. It only takes a couple minutes, and it helps us a whole lot. So we thank you so much for your free support in advance. Of course, we got to shout out one of our sponsors. We really appreciate all of our supporters on Apple Podcasts, Captivate, and Patreon. Today, we're shouting out Justin Vaughn. You rock, Justin. Man, I almost want to work camp just to see Justin. Am I allowed to visit just to see Justin? Maybe we'll
so.
Remember, guys, if you want your own shout out, like Justin, you too can just find TJ, slip him a $5 bill, or support our show for $3 a month on one of these 3 platforms: Apple Podcasts, Captivate, or Patreon. Do one of those 4 things. Pay TJ directly, or Apple Podcasts, Captivate, Patreon, and you'll get your own shout out. I guarantee it. Guys, if you want to hear more of our Disney animation eras playlist, there is a link down below for this series that you guys can listen to all of our Disney eras animation stuff. It's great. We hope you all do one very important thing for us also. And remember, we are all a chosen people, a geekdom of priests.
Hey, podcast fam. Want to stay even more connected with the show? We've got you covered. Check us out on Instagram and Blue Sky, where we're posting exclusive content and bonus videos and fun updates that you won't get anywhere else. From sneak previews of upcoming episodes to bonus content, our social accounts are the best way to keep the conversation going. Plus, it's a great spot for you to interact with other listeners and share your thoughts. We love hearing from you. When you follow us, it helps us grow and continue bringing you the content that you love. Whether it's a funny poll, a quick clip from today's episodes, or just random thoughts, you'll feel more plugged into everything we're doing. So go ahead and hit that follow button on Instagram and Blue Sky. It's one more way to be a part of the show and keep the good vibes flowing. Thanks for being a part of the family, and we can't wait to see you there.
Hello there, listener. Thanks for listening. This is Evan Garcia. I hope you enjoyed this episode. We just wanted to come in and remind you that this episode is part of a bigger network of podcasts called the Anazal Podcast Network. We have great shows like the Whole Church Podcast, Kung Fu Pizza Party, and the Homily with Pastor Chill Will. Chill Will. The podcast has sermons from our host, Pastor Will. Great sermons every time. The Kung Fu Pizza Party is Brandon Knight showing his expertise and his passion for everything Kung Fu films. And he dispenses a bunch of wisdom. Great show. And the Whole Church Podcast, where Josh and TJ interview people from different denominations and church traditions to pursue greater church unity. It's a great podcast to see what other denominations are included. And we just want to say thank you so much for listening. See you next time.